Hey fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. I'm Michael Pachter, happy to have you here. Hope that you are watching this when it's a brand new release as a Patreon patron. If you are, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube as a YouTube subscriber and getting it real time, thank you for that as well. We need support just to make ends meet. It costs money to produce this stuff. I get paid zero. This is all volunteer, which is why we offer it on YouTube a week late for free. But if you aren't paying on Patreon or as a YouTube subscriber, please read in the show description how to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. It's free. You're already paying for it as part of Prime, and they will pay us. Please remember to re-up that each time you watch the show because we get paid monthly. So please try to go to the show description and link your accounts. We'll get paid. Today's question from YouTube from the Happy Humanist. The N64 Rumble Pak has consistently been improved upon over the years, and now we have haptic feedback. Meanwhile, Nintendo's multi-screen ideas like 3DS, Wii U, and Switch have not been widely adopted. What makes something a gimmick versus something that really changes the gaming experience for the better in a permanent way? That's a good question. Is it purely popularity and how much it sells? I don't know when an innovation is truly frame-breaking and captures consumer imagination and when an innovation doesn't. Sometimes I can look at innovation and say, boy, that's stupid, but most of the time I'm wrong. So like 3D TV never made sense to me. It seemed like a gimmick because you had to wear a headset with glasses. It just seemed dumb. It seemed like too much work, and I didn't think we really wanted 3D. I kind of feel that way about virtual reality. It's cool, but it's a little too hard. But I have to say, I'll give you my biggest fail ever. I remember when Xbox, when they came out with Halo multiplayer, and they were trying to pitch Xbox Live. And I remember saying, who wants to play multiplayer? We play games to escape. We want a single player game. We want to play by ourselves and get away from everybody and have the challenge without being interrupted, because that's how I grew up playing games. Like, I grew up playing single player games and it was fun. Now, I've got to say, in fairness, I did play Counter-Strike and I did enjoy it, but I kind of played it in an office where we were also kind of strung together and we were playing on different PCs in the same building. But I didn't think that it would ever take off. And I think part of my skepticism was I didn't trust the technology to work. So I just thought, no, this is too hard. It costs too much. And by the way, no one will ever pay for Xbox Live Gold. That just made no sense. So I'm not the right guy to ask about innovation. But the answer is, some people figure stuff out that Steve Jobs is the best example of this. They figure something out. They don't ask consumers. They figure it out because they know. So Steve Jobs very famously in his biography tells Walter Isaacson, you don't design a phone without buttons because you ask consumers, do you want your phone without buttons? Because they don't. You design a phone without buttons and then you convince consumers it's better. And that's the answer to your question. There are some things that are just better, that just work. And so I can give you some real world examples now. You'll read about this. Amazon is making cuts in its Alexa division because their Alexa devices do a ton of stuff, and nobody uses the stuff that they designed. One of which is voice control. Like Amazon has, now again, you will say to Alexa louder or Alexa play such and such a song, but you will not say to Alexa, hey Alexa, put shredded carrots in my shopping cart because I'm going to shop later, because you won't even remember you did that. And when you're shopping, it's right there. You ordered it last week. It's that easy. It's just like, it's not that hard to enter a shopping list. So Alexa does too much stuff. I bought a Ring camera set up for my house before Ring was acquired by Amazon. And I remember, and I cover Amazon, I remember reading an email from Amazon saying, here's a new Alexa skill. Say, Alexa, show me who's outside the front door, right? And I did. It took me about 20 minutes to set it up, and I have an Echo Show. So I said it, and it took about 30 seconds before the camera came on because it just kind of processing and stuff. I have a Ring app on my phone. Click, front door, done. There they are. Like, I don't need Alexa to do it because the Ring app already did it. So the answer is when someone comes up with an innovation that's truly different and frame-breaking, and it provides a solution to a problem that you maybe didn't know you had, like buttons on your phone, you didn't know, but it's more elegant and it works better, then it resonates with consumers. So I remember seeing Snapchat for the first time, and it's because my kids, who were like 11 at the time, were using it, and I go, I don't get it. Why do you want to take pictures and then have them disappear? And my kids said, and it's not true of what's going on right now, but it is true. My kids said, we're just talking to people and we're talking through pictures. And I said, yeah, but I don't get it. Why would you want to take a picture and have it disappear? And they said, well, when you talk on the phone, what happens to your words? And this light bulb went off in my head, and I went, oh my God, my 11-year-old kids get this and I don't. Wow. Like, wow. And the difference between me and Evan Spiegel, who founded Snapchat, aside from being about $20 billion, is he had that vision and he saw that and he went, this is really cool. I got to say, I thought Twitter was really stupid when I first started. Now I'm a power user. So people who invent stuff that resonates with consumers deserve all the wealth that gets showered upon them. So I don't know why haptic feedback versus, 3DS, multi-screen. Well, sometimes they work. I don't know why Nintendo gets away with multi-screen and nobody else can figure it out. Why does Nintendo get away with handheld and Sony PSP is a complete disaster? No idea. I have no idea. I will say I do have some idea. The answer is Sony software. Sony software was good, but it was just like console software. And you already felt like, well, I can play, Uncharted on my PS2 or PS3. I don't need it on my PSP. Where Nintendo, no, I got to buy it for my Switch because that's the only place I can play it. I wish I could tell you how to be innovative and come up with something no one's ever thought of. I will say, someone very smart once said this to me. There are no original ideas, only iterations of other people's ideas. I am a holder of 4 U.S. patents. So I have 4 issued patents from the U.S. Patent Office for coming up with innovative designs. I can tell you each one of those was the proverbial better mousetrap. We improved on something that existed, but I didn't come up with the original idea. I was just able to think about how it could be used elsewhere. I'm not the right guy to tell you how to come up with the next haptic N64 Rumble Pak. So Microsoft Connect kind of proves the point that a lot of innovation is so unique to the innovator and it just can't be replicated, because Microsoft saw Wii and said, oh, this is really cool, we're going to improve on it, it's going to recognize us. Remember Connect with the camera and stuff? I thought that was the coolest thing I've ever seen when I went up to Redmond and they showed it to me. And next thing I know, I had one, I never used it, nor did anybody else. I don't know. I'm going to go back to Nintendo software makes everything work better. But I don't know, because I remember I was actually went to some Nintendo event where it was like a Wii Tennis Pro tournament. It was like people competing for prizes. And here's the guys who won the tournament. They're sitting on the couch, and this is how they played. They just had it down. They figured out how to do like 1/4 hand turn with the controller, and it was not fun to watch at all. And Reggie was like humiliated to have us watch that the best players in the world weren't doing anything. Where I think that Nintendo's vision was that those guys were going to be running across the room and diving to get the ball, and they weren't. They just figured out how to move the controller and fake it into believing it was big moves, and it worked. So Everything can be gamed, pun intended. But Nintendo just, honestly, they just came up with something that was one-off, different from what anybody else had ever done. And those who tried to emulate couldn't figure it out. I mean, you remember EA Sports bobblehead Wii games? So those giant heads, like they thought, oh yeah, that was Peter Moore, who's one of the smartest guys I've ever met. It's like, yeah, oh, people are going to buy this. And man, what a bust that was. It's so hard. I don't know. Nintendo just looks at the world differently than we do. They're smarter than we are. They're more creative than we are. That's a good company. So I don't know what to tell you. Good question, though. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. Appreciate your Patreon patronage, your YouTube subscription, and your linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. We'll see you next time.